Hello, how are you? It's this afternoon, and it's the official New Year's Day in terms of a federal holiday. And the temperature, I just can't believe it. I had to go out. It's been going between 59 and 63, so we're not going to get a lot of days like this soon, so I'm glad to take them. My eye seems to be settling in. I won't know how good or bad it is until I see my doc tomorrow, but I'm hopeful, as you would expect I would be. The hero of the day is a woman in Texas. And she's an enviro hero, if you will, because she noticed that near the bridges last year, a lot of these Mexican free-tailed bats were frozen and fell to the ground, and so then they died. And so she went out and she collected I think it's like 1,600 bats who were in this condition this year from the Texas cold. And they basically are safe until 50 degrees, but then below that, they're at risk. And she took them home and she warmed them up. And when it got warmer, she returned them to their natural wild environment in Texas. So that's kind of a nice story. Some people don't have the empathy for them. And if you need a motive, why do you care about bats? Well, they do eat mosquitoes. So that's a happy story in my opinion. And it's a nice connection between a woman who took that time and put herself out there to help bats. And some people can't stand to look at. You hear the same thing about black snakes, which are good for gardens. And there's a whole bunch of animals and insects and so forth that go unappreciated because of the city life. And I say this as a kid from the South Bronx whose major exposure to animals and wildlife was first the Bronx Zoo. And then my parents didn't have any money really. They'd get a cabin upstate New York in the Catskills or the Adirondacks. And I suppose those combination of things. Also, I watched at 6 a.m. on Saturdays in black and white TV, there was a show, The American Farmer. And I watched this thing. I put the sound down very low because it was close to where my parents' bedroom was, and I didn't want to disturb them. And they were fine with me doing it, particularly if I didn't disturb them. So that's kind of how I got into the foothills of environmental concern. I first enjoyed and loved animals and what was green, and then read what Emerson and others had to say about it. You have to be influenced by that when you're exposed to it. So, what about political animals? Well, in Arizona, I'm glad to say that Democrat Katie Hobbs was sworn in, and that's terrific. And we can wave bye-bye to Ms. Lake, who made these bogus claims about fraud in the election. The fraud in the election was her, from beginning to end. Her entire campaign was the kind of deleterious, hateful campaign that America should be out there with Brillo pads scrubbing out of our landscape. There's another story of the evil characters getting their due. There's this guy, Barry Croft, who was one of the major conspirators in the effort to kidnap the governor of Michigan. And that didn't work out so well for him because he was sentenced to 19 years in prison. And I posted a picture of him on social media and on Twitter and on Facebook. And he is head to toe covered in armor and weapons, right? Behind him are a whole bunch of trucks, empty trucks, right? There's a dog literally tied to a tree, and the rein is wrapped around the tree. And the ne plus ultra of his crazy patriotism is the American flag upside down. Now, when I was a kid, Mad Reader would have a sketch like that. This guy is the real thing, and now he can embrace his extremism in the prison system for 19 years. What a shame, no loss there. And those of us who follow Politics on the Hill, which is everybody these days, or anybody who reads or cares about public issues, in the next number of hours, our boy McCarthy is going to see if he can become Speaker. Now, I don't think there's any buzzkill that he's the only candidate who can be the speaker if a Republican is going to be a speaker, because these guys are split so badly among themselves. So what the Republicans will do is try to seek deals to tie him down, and he's going to try to limit any bargain he makes, or Philadelphia word it in such a fashion that it won't hem him in as the speaker. But he's going to have a pretty sorrowful time when the dust settles, not because of these agreements so much, but because he's the head of an unruly tribe. And these people, I'm hoping, are going to be more and more resisted by the Republicans in the days of yore, who think this formula obviously didn't work in the midterm. So let's double think this as we approach a presidential election in 2024. We'll see. They haven't learned before. When you got people like Congresswoman Green and No Jacket Jordan heading judiciary, oh, what a circus that is. The Democrats will look like staid politicians by comparison, don't you think? So I'm out here celebrating the environment and the kind woman who's the bat woman, if you will, for the day, helping these small animals that she thinks are kind of flying pups. A cute way to refer to them. So I'm in my cathedral of trees, enjoying this walk and this perhaps last day of warmth, and looking forward to an active year in which we, the people, are going to have to fight for our democracy. So, but today, kick back, relax, and on to tomorrow. Bye-bye.